When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, happy Tuesday. What's going on, Boise State fans? BJ Rains here. Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com, along with Jay Tust, sports director over at KTVB. It's Tuesday. That means it's Tuesdays with Tust. And Jay, we all had a good couple of days, but I don't think any of us had as good a day as Mark Johnson did yesterday, apparently.
Apparently not, yeah.
Two hole-in-ones for your former coworker over at KTVB. How about that? And
that's his third this year. So, I mean, he's been playing golf forever.
Now, he did play 100 holes, so it wasn't like it was in one 18-hole round. But kudos to Mark Johnson, raising money for charity for the First Tee of Idaho. And apparently he raised some money and played 100 holes. I don't know if you have more information on it, but while he was playing the 100 holes, and I just liked how not only did he have 2 hole-in-ones, but he's posting a Facebook video about 60 holes through of him changing his socks and his shoes, and he's just kind of nonchalantly talking about how tired he is, but he's over halfway done. And he just slips in there real quickly, and we got 2 hole-in-ones, and just moves right on to the next thing. And I'm just like, is this a real course? Is this putt-putt? What is this? And then later on, he tweeted about it or something and said 2 hole-in-ones, and I was just like, you got to be kidding me. So major props for raising the money, Mark Johnson, and major props for 2 hole-in-ones.
Two things. I've got to figure out how to get involved in community events where you have to play 100 holes of golf. And
so that be next year's Bronco Nation News tournament?
There it is. Let's amp that thing up a bit. And secondly, I could play 1,000 holes of golf and not get 1 hole-in-one. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That is cool. We're talking about our series continuing. I'm not sure. Are you seeing me okay, or do we have any Wi-Fi issues today?
Are you good?
Okay. I usually reset my browser when I switch from Wi-Fi to Ethernet, and I forgot to do that today. So let me know, and I can get out real quick while you're talking, and if it gets choppy, because I know folks want to see this, petite body here and face and not have any streaming issues. So,
I mean, I'm not going to comment on what you just said there, but the actual quality of the stream, it looks good.
All right, perfect. Well, we got we're 1 week from today, by the way. We're going to be in Las Vegas for Mountain West Media Days, and I was going to ask you this off air, but I'll just say it on air. Why not? I'm thinking maybe we can switch Friday for Thursday next week and do our appearance at the Mandalay Bay next Thursday before things start, but we'll see what your schedule's like next week instead of while you're driving back on Friday.
I'll have my agent contact your agent.
Okay.
In other words, I'll text you after the show, but probably
I think it'd be at 8 a.m. down there, which I think will be right about when they're announcing the players of the year and stuff. But I don't think any interview stuff starts till 9, so we'll see. Yeah. I don't want to make you get up earlier than you have to in Vegas, but if it might be easier than.
Come on, we literally don't sleep during media days. We'll be good.
And if you're driving back Friday, which I assume you are, it might be easier just to knock it out Thursday anyway. And it would be good to we'll figure that out. But either way, KTVB, Bronco Nation News will both be down in Las Vegas for media days next week. We'll be traveling a week from today. Crazy to believe. Everyone kept saying, well, "What are you going to cover in the summer? What are you going to talk about all summer? How are you going to keep this thing going?" And we're a week away from media days. We've pretty much reached the end of all of that. After media days, we'll both have a couple final days to kind of breathe, and then fall practice does start August 3rd is the first day of fall practice.
There's a little bit of time between media days and fall camp this year. Yeah, and I say a little bit because usually there's like none. Usually it's like a few day turnaround. It's a week and a half essentially this year. That's nice.
Yeah, and we'll have to see if hopefully there'll be some interviews with some of the coaches and things. Our friend Joe Nichols not around anymore, so we're not sure if things are going to change or be the same or what the media stuff's going to look like going into camp. But
I mean, he's still around. He's just not dealing with us.
yes, he's smart. Yeah, no. So just so folks know, yeah, we're a week away from media days. We'll both be down there, probably live stuff starting Tuesday night, and then full days Wednesday and Thursday, all day from a new location this year, the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. So we'll have full coverage for you of that next week. But until we get there, we're kind of counting down the last 7, 8, 9 storylines that we're looking at. We want to hopefully get to number one, Jay, on the day before. We'll have to touch base on that too. I don't know what day Tuesday, what time you're driving down next week. We may have to record that Monday night or something next week. But that will ideally be the number one storyline going into fall camp that we'll get done the day before media days. So we're kind of getting closer to that. And we got two we want to tackle today as we kind of catch up for some of the holidays and days that we missed. And the one that I guess we'll start with is, which one do you want to start with?
Hey, you're running this ship. You just tell me which path we're going.
I'm trying to think which one will make less people want to turn off the show right away. We do want to talk offensive line, but let's start with the NFL draft prospects. By the way, Jordan Morales, I actually have a topic we need to talk about first, Jay. Jordan Morales chimes in, hey guys, just busted open my daily copy of the Sacramento Bee, looking for the Fresno State sports section. Where do I find that? Now, Jordan actually did screenshot himself going to the Sacramento Bee website, trying to click on where he can find coverage of Fresno State, and it wasn't listed as one of the options. And we bring this up because in the ever-changing, evolving world of conference realignment, Fresno State's been pretty active out there on social media, and we will get to the storyline topics here in a minute, but I did want to bring this up, and I had forgotten about it. Fresno State, Jay, has been very open and posting social media graphics about how big of a market they live in, how big of a TV market they have, all the television homes in the Central Valley, and they've included a pretty large area that might not all consider themselves, avid Fresno State fans. But I thought that was funny that Jordan did. They included Sacramento as part of Fresno State's, home turf, and yet you can't find any coverage of Fresno State in the Sacramento paper.
We have to relate everything back to the way that our viewers, our listeners consume and react to stuff. I mean, that's part of the job, because we need to provide perspective at times, right? And so the graphics they post, like the aesthetics of them, whatever, like they are nice. Like, so let's get that out of the way. Whoever's making them is very talented, but in terms of like the content of the graphics are on the graphics, like whatever. Like, if you think that a Twitter marketing campaign.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Jay, or is that my computer here? We might have lost Jay temporarily. Jay Tust, are you there? Let us know, folks, if that's me or Jay. I think it might be Jay that we lost there for a minute. We'll get him back. Jay was talking about the Fresno State video. Who did we lose here? Did we lose me or Jay? Can someone comment and let us know? Let's see what we got going on here. All right, I guess that was Jay that we lost. Are we still there? All right, sorry about that. It said Jay's been having issues there. Now Jay's back. Sorry, I thought it might have been me, so I went out myself, but now Jay's back. There we go. You're back, Jay?
I'm sorry, guys.
All right.
Sorry, everybody.
Now I just know if I ever want to get comments from folks, I just have someone leave the show. We've got about
lost Jay.
Comments.
Sorry, guys. Hey, found me. I'm back.
There we go.
Okay.
Well, I wasn't sure because if it was myself or yours, but we're back. We're good.
Yeah. Finishing my thought. Sorry, guys. Finishing my thought. Like, a Twitter marketing campaign won't make a bit of a difference in terms of moving the realignment needle. I mean, look at the noise that USC, UCLA, Texas, Oklahoma made before the moves. Like, became public knowledge. Like, there wasn't a lot. San Diego State, they're not. Are they doing anything like this on Twitter right now? Boise State, they're super active on Twitter, super innovative and creative with their social media accounts. A lot of this stuff has to be done behind closed doors, whether people like it or not. And I really, as we've talked about last week, BJ, there are only so many people that have knowledge of what truly is going on. And so I don't fault Fresno State for doing it, but in terms of like some of the reaction back here, Like, don't panic because they are, and maybe Boise State's not. There's other reasons to maybe, be worried or excited, not posting graphics about how big your market size is or how many viewers on Twitter. That will have very, very, very little, appeal to the actual decision of what would happen when it comes to realignment.
Well, it's not just realignment, but anything. If you're having to like brag or try to state your case that much, I mean, there's usually a reason for that it's not maybe as strong as you think it is. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I know you had an interview that folks can check out on KTVB.com with Jeremiah Dickey. I'll be catching up with him tomorrow. Yeah, it's but we'll have the bingo card out tomorrow. He'll give you the love Jeremiah, but he's not going to tell us yes, we're joining the Pac-12 tomorrow. I mean, it's the standard stuff, but they
it is.
It's the
but listen to it. Like, I mean, like you just have to at this point. And like BJ, I know you and I, like, we roll our eyes at certain cliches because it's cliche. Like, we want stuff that, is gripping for viewers, readers, listeners, anything like that. But at the same time, like you start to have a greater understanding. Like, if you get over that, it's really all they can do right now. We know what Boise State's appeal is. It is their football program, and it is winning football games. It would be a really, really good year to go out and win a lot of football games. Guess what? Guess what you can't do? Control what you control. You can't control how many people live here at the moment. It's growing in population, but unless you can find a way to add 1 million or 2 people to Boise State, or to the city of Boise and our television market size in the next 4 weeks, it simply doesn't matter. So it is what it is.
We found out the reason. Jay dressed up too much for the show today, too much for YouTube to handle. So that's why it's kicked you off there. Hey, we do have some stuff to give away today. We got free golf at Timberstone. We got $25 gift card to the James Whiskey and Cocktail Bar right there across BSU. We got a free pizza from Westside Pizza as well. So if you're interested in any of this, give us a comment on the YouTube chat there or Facebook. Let us know why you believe that you should win one of these. And we're in a good mood today, so we'll give away some free stuff. Let us know, and you can have it. I do want to talk about our 2 topics that we want to get to today, but I do quickly want to, while we're in between topics, thank a couple of our sponsors. United Commercial Insurance. Check them out, UnitedCommercialInsurance.com. They can write business and policy insurance in 44 states around the country. And how about this, Jay? Bronco Nation News. We've gotten so big now that I found out we need business insurance, and we will be going with United Commercial Insurance, of course. So I've been working with them on getting a quote for some of the liability insurances, workers' comp insurance, because it's our job, as you know, is so we're so dangerous doing what we do that we need workers' comp insurance. So, we're working with United Commercial Insurance. Check them out, UnitedCommercialInsurance.com, and they make business insurance easy. Boise Dentistry Co. Locations across the Treasure Valley. Check them out, BoiseDentistryCo.com. Dr. Chris Miner and his staff do just a tremendous job. It's full family dentistry, so your kids, your wife, yourself, whoever, the whole family, they can take care of you. And again, they've got locations across the Treasure Valley. Great, easy, quick, and again, talk sports while you're in the chair. So what are you waiting for? BoiseDentistryCo.com. Transportation compliance service as well. If you ever thought about a new job, you don't like what you're doing, you want a fresh start, a career change, how about the trucking industry? TCS can help you get all the permits, all the things you need to get out there, towing that first load. And you may think it's, the trucking industry. Yeah, right. But if you look into it, it's a very lucrative business right now with the pandemic. So check it out. They can help you every step of the way, get you out there. And they've been big supporters of Bronco Nation News. So please support the sponsors, support TCS and all of our great sponsors. We had, I saw Joe Rogalski yesterday saying that he had reached out to one of our big supporters and fans, Jay, that he had reached out to Row Paint about his wife had given him the approval to make his basement a Boise State basement. So he's looking to get their concrete coating in the basement with the blue and orange colors. So hopefully that works out and they give you a good deal. And by the way, apparently they say the YouTube chat is way better than the Facebook chat. So yes, go to YouTube. That's the easiest way to watch this show every day and chat. And by the way, Jay, we're checking out some new cameras here. How about this? We're trying to test out some stuff for media days. I've noticed that the audio doesn't sync up perfectly with the mouth here on this one, so that's not ideal, but may have some different cameras and things we're working on for media days. So that'll be fun. We got looking forward to what we're going to be doing down there. I know you guys are going to have the live interviews with all the coaches and everybody as well. So we're going to have a little set up hopefully to help take folks a little more behind the scenes at media days and have a little better than just the traditional Mac webcam that I'm using here for this. But yep, here's Joe. Says I wanted to get the BSU floor and the wife said no. Oh, well, they still have like 15 other colors and combinations, Joe. So you should still check them out. And it's still a great option, even if you can't go with the blue and orange one. But yeah, rowpaint.com. You can check them out. And they're a great supporter of ours. There would be no Bronco Nation news without Row Paint, so we appreciate them. Now, two topics. I want to start with the NFL draft prospects. I saw a tweet come through about 10 days ago or so from Jim Nagy. He is with the Senior Bowl, Jay. He's one of their let's see what his exact title is. It is executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl. And he had a tweet about J.L. Skinner and saying that he was one of 5 Boise State players that they had grades on that they're going to be following throughout the season to potentially play in the Senior Bowl. And I reached out to him to ask him about the other guys as well. And he says that Skinner, Scott Matlock, John Ojukwu, George Halani, and Hank Bachmeier are the 5 players that going into the season, at least, they have their eyes on for potential of playing in the Senior Bowl. I guess initially those 5, Skinner, Bachmeier, Halani, Ojukwu, and Matlock. What do you make of their Senior Bowl and just their NFL draft prospects?
Yeah, I mean, first things first, if you think like there are some talented young guys that might be missing off that list, they truly only rank guys that have, senior next to their name.
Yeah, we're going to talk NFL draft prospects in general, but this to go to the Senior Bowl, you have to actually be a senior. Yep.
So that's why, I mean, like maybe that list at the end when we talk about NFL draft prospects could expand a little bit. But I like his list. I think a guy you might see emerge onto that list, at least, if you look at the way that he played last year and his ability to make a big impact this year, maybe look at Caleb Biggers. I think that he could be a guy that –
I thought you were going to go Tyreek Jones.
Well, definitely Tyreek Jones. I thought you said Tyreek Jones, at least when we talked last night.
He's not on the list of the 5.
Okay,
Skinner, Bachmeier, Halani, Ojukwu, and Matlock.
Okay. I definitely think Tyreek Jones is going to work his way onto that list. I know that eligibility is kind of interesting right now. Technically, this is George Halani's 4th year or going into his 4th year in college, so I guess that's why they roped him in. Don't disagree with that. I think technically Boise State also lists him as a redshirt junior. I'm going to double check that.
They do, but I believe because he had the red shirt with the injury, he only played in 4 games.
Yeah, but he still has – I mean, at the end of the day, actually, George still has a ton of eligibility left because he also can utilize a COVID year. So he still has quite a bit of time left as a Bronco if he chooses to stay in Boise State for the next few years. But I don't disagree with that list. JL is obviously at the top of that thing. Scott Matlock certainly is molding himself into an NFL draft prospect. When it comes to a guy like Hank Bachmeier, man, he's got to have an awesome – he has to have an unbelievable year. We have seen guys at that position come through Boise State, win a lot of games, put up a lot of numbers, and the Broncos are still searching for their first quarterback drafted in the modern draft era. So in order for him to work his way in, he's definitely going to have to have a monster year. I don't think there's any argument there.
Now, I know Mike Prater, who does our show on Thursdays, is not very high on Hank Bachmeier as an NFL prospect. He's said he thinks there's even a chance he could come back for that 5th year in 2023. I mean, and I personally think this is probably Bachmeier's last year, not necessarily just because, the NFL, but just, 4-year starters a lot. And not sure if he wants to go through it all for a 5th year. Who knows? We haven't really had a chance to talk to him too much about that. Was hoping to do it at media days, which we can talk about, I guess, and we won't get the chance to do. But in general, where are you just on Hank Bachmeier's NFL draft potential? And if he were to have a big season, do you think he had a chance? I mean, I at least think he's a guy probably that'll put up good enough numbers to get into a tryout or a camp or something. But is there any chance you think Hank Bachmeier could get drafted?
He has to stay healthy. He has to be consistent, and they have to win football games. It's pretty simple, I think, when it comes to his ability to work his way into a position where he can go in the NFL. If I'm just being honest, I would say right now, I would err with caution and say no on the NFL draft. He's a great kid. He's so fun to talk to. He's got a great personality. But trying to separate that from this argument, you kind of have to see it first. He's got to stay healthy, which he's had a tough time doing. Even last year, man. I mean, he was a warrior for the last half of the season, playing that with that massive knee brace on.
Well, like
it
you
limited
said, too,
him.
like you said, nothing against Hank Bachmeier, but he hasn't shown to be Brett Rippon or any of these other quarterbacks. And if none of them could get drafted, it's pretty hard to get drafted as a quarterback in a 7-round NFL draft.
That's kind of where I'm going with this. The one thing I will say is he has a chance to shine in the Mountain West this year. You look at the quarterbacks in the league last year, they had some dudes. I mean, watching Carson Strong come up here, with Nevada, I remember watching the game that week thinking, man, he was making some big time throws, some NFL type throws. And I just don't know if we've seen.
All right. Looks like Jay might have froze up again. So we'll start this cam back up. Jay froze. We'll remove that. We'll get Jay back here in a second. Nothing against Hank Bachmeier, but yeah, I like Hank Bachmeier, 4-year starter. Heck of a, and even if he has a monster year, I mean, that would be huge for Boise State. I think he will have a monster year. But what I would say is that it's very, very, very hard to get drafted as a quarterback. So, Jay is gone again. We'll get him back shortly here. Let me thank, while Jay's coming back, let me go ahead and thank a couple of our sponsors. Make sure we get the bills paid here. The Blue and Orange Store, that's their Father's Day collection, which is past, but they're still selling it. All the old retro stuff. Logos, all the hats, everything that you're interested in. Again, you can get it at the blueandorangestore.com. Free shipping on orders over $40. Free shipping on any order over $40. You can also go, if you're in Boise, to the Boise Town Square Mall and check them out. And again, you got the season coming up, media days next week, so don't wait any longer. Go ahead and check them out. I can't. All right, I'll just tell you. Today at 1:30, there's going to be a match at Timberstone with a couple Boise State athletes and a couple Boise State coaches, and it's a secret, but I'm going to be out there filming it. So check out playtimberstone.com, book your tee time, but stay tuned to my social media this afternoon. We're going to have a fun little golf match and some fun content with one of our sponsors at Play Timberstone, 1:30 p.m. So I'll have all kinds of coverage of that this afternoon on my Twitter account, on Facebook. We'll post a lot of videos, and there's going to be some trash talking. It's going to be a lot of fun, but check out Timberstone Golf Course in Caldwell. I love that course. It's the official golf course at Bronco Nation News, and I really rarely play anywhere else these days. So check them out. Book your tee time. Playtimberstone.com. And again, stay tuned to my social media this afternoon for some fun from the course. Matt Bauscher, Bauscher Real Estate, the number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. Check him out. BauscherRealEstate.com. No home is too big or too small. He gets the big ones, the multi-million-dollar homes that he'll sell your home to any size. So check him out, BauscherRealEstate.com. And again, he's supporting Boise State Athletics. So thank Matt Bauscher and return the favor to him by looking to use Matt Bauscher next time you buy or sell a home. Again, more information at BauscherRealEstate.com. We can bring Jay Tust back into the mix today. One of those days, Jay, believe me, I know how that goes with the Wi-Fi issues. I don't think we've ever had too many issues with your
No. I don't know what's going on today, so I apologize to everyone. We'll get it figured out before Friday. Sorry.
Camille's streaming the Netflix early this morning.
I know. We're probably streaming Go. We're FaceTiming. I just got off everything that's attached to the internet in this room, so...
Yeah, I've had that. There's nothing more frustrating than internet issues. And a couple of those road games, I can remember Wyoming was one of them. There was a couple trying to do my pre and post game shows where it was pretty much non-existent. So you cross your fingers. I've had some issues myself with the internet, but so far, hopefully we only got about 5-6 minutes left. Hopefully we can make it work here. But we were talking Bachmeier. Let's go to the other guys. I kind of finished up the conversation on him. I think we both think Hank Bachmeier could have a big year. I think we both, at least I predict he will have a monster senior season, but it just may not be enough. And again, nothing against him, but Boise State's yet to have a quarterback drafted. I'm not sure Hank Bachmeier is the one that's gonna be the guy, but who knows? We'll see. Helani, has a chance with a huge season. Skinner, I think we all feel. I guess the 2. What I would probably do, Jay, right now, 2.5 is the over/under. I don't know how you feel about that for 2.5 guys getting drafted next year. Mm-hmm. I think Skinner's a lock, and I think Scott Matlock's going to be a lock. I think Scott Matlock has done enough. And what a story. I keep saying cool story, and I don't even know if that's the right word. It's almost disrespectful because everybody knows Scott's story, and we've both known him for 7-8 years going back to high school. And I remember writing a big feature on him when we picked him for our Inspirational Athlete of the Year. And he's overcome a lot, obviously, with both of his parents passing away. And so for him to get drafted into the NFL would just be an incredible story of perseverance. And I think it's going to happen. I think Scott Matlock will get drafted. I think he's going to have, last year, if he does what he did last year, next year, and I think he's going to probably get drafted. So I think that, in my opinion, that's a lock that those two guys get picked. And then I think you go the half because you could have a Helani, you could have a Bachmeier, you could have a Jones, you could have a it sounds as crazy as it sounds, a Jonah Dalmas. You could have there's a number of other guys, John Ojukwu. I think. I mean, I'm forgetting some more that I have on my list here. But I mean,
you start to. I mean, BJ, I almost bumped this thing up to 3.5.
That's an interesting one.
I mean, because you've listed some guys that, like, John Ojukwu came back to play a 6th year at Boise State in order to help his draft perspective.
6-year line, like, at some point, if you didn't get drafted after 3 or 4 years, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know. That's why you don't see a lot of, like, college seniors in basketball get drafted. Like, you're either good enough or you're, I don't know. I would love to see it, and he'll, and you're right, maybe 3.5 is a better number, or at least 3, so you can get the push on 3. JT Benlap says Ojukwu will get drafted. So, I think he certainly is possible. By the way, folks are wanting me to deduct your pay for the time that you're missing when the internet's not working. So that's a good idea. I may have to consider that, Kurt. That's an it. But for the time that I go over I've gone over the time enough with Jay that he's due a few extra minutes. So I actually it's supposed to be 30 minutes, and when I look up and we're at 35, so Jay's put in extra time. So we'll call it even on that. But okay, they're talking about Talon Green. I agree. He could maybe get drafted in a couple years, but he's not even eligible for the draft right now. So we'll worry about that later. But so do you agree though that Scott Matlock's a lock? Or would you not go that far? Okay.
I'm 90% in. So, and the only reason why I leave the 10 there is technically he too could come back next year if he wanted. That is such a physically demanding position. Scott is built for it, man. Like, he has not had very many injury issues in his time here. So if he can stay healthy and do what he did last year, this year at a slightly higher level, just because I think that's what you expect, he will. If that happens, yes, he would be a guy that's going to get drafted.
So maybe if we were going to, have to put a significant amount of money on it, 1.5 might be the safer number, just in case there's injuries, if things happen. I think we would say it's a pretty much lock that at least one player were to get drafted.
Yeah.
Regardless. I mean, who knows? JL Skinner could get hurt. I mean, knock on wood, a lot of things could happen, but we all think JL Skinner will be the first player picked, correct? And then I would personally put Matlock as the second, maybe a John Ojukwu as the third. I mean, don't forget Steph Cobbs could have some huge season, try to work his way into the mix. I mean, I know at Pro Day last year, I know Prater wrote a column about it and was talking about it, and I think he asked Andy Avalos about it, and we were all out there at the weight room and at the Pro Day in April, and you start to think about it. I mean, there could be a dozen guys that and there's usually guys that show up and it's like, okay, no offense, but why are you really here? You don't really have much of a chance. But I mean, there's going to be 7, 8, 9, 10 plus guys next year at Pro Day that really realistically have a chance at an NFL invite or camp or draft pick.
Yeah, I think so. And just remember how tough it is to get even that, though. Like, I mean, look at Octavius Evans, man. That dude looked like he was built for that. And even he couldn't really get, much of a sniff when it came to the NFL. Nobody gave him a call. So it is really tough to get even a tryout, an invite, a mini camp, whatever. It is difficult to even get that. But it certainly seems like Boise State's going back in the right direction when it comes to producing NFL talent. And yes, we focus a lot on the draft, but when it comes to guys that might get that shot, you definitely could be upwards of 6 to 8 dudes next year. I feel like very, very easily.
JT Belknap says there's a bunch of fringe draft guys, but his sleeper, George Tarlas.
Ooh.
How about George Tarlas as a sleeper? Perry
excited to see what that guy can do at this level.
If Cobbs and Helani stay healthy, watch out for them. I mean, so many running backs get drafted these days with how valuable they can be. If George Helani rushes for 1,500 plus yards and can get over 10 touchdowns, I certainly think there's a chance there. But I guess that the bottom line is there's a lot of high-end talent on this roster.
Yeah, I do. I think finally they've benefited from the COVID year where guys are getting that extra year of eligibility. It's finally starting to come back around a little bit. A guy like George Tarlas, so I definitely think that they're back in the right direction when it comes to producing NFL talent.
What percentage would you give Jonah Dalmas? Just curious. He's consistent with shorter field goals, not so much with longer ones. I don't even know if I'd agree with that. He hasn't really missed too many longer ones in his career. He's made 50 plus field goals. I don't know the exact numbers offhand, but I don't think I would say he's not so much with longer ones.
I'm excited to see.
No offense, Leroy.
I'm excited to see what Jonah can do this year, because now that whole vague situation of who handles field goals over X distance, is it Joel Velasquez? Is it Jonah Dalmas? It is Jonah Dalmas's ball game right now. And so while I think you will see the quantity of field goals he makes go down, and really Boise State fans should hope for that because they need to be a little bit more productive inside the red zone, maybe you see Jonah cash in a few more from 50 this year because they feel like if they're at the 35-yard line, maybe they don't have to go for it on 4th and 4. They just trot Jonah out there and have him, knock one in from 52.
I think if you see Jonah Dalmas do what he did last year, lead the NCAA in field goals. Well, I would just say that's not necessarily good news for Boise State's offense. You really, really don't. I mean, that too, yes. Oh, he'll get drafted if he has 27 field goals again or whatever it was. But I think if you're Andy Avalos, you say, I love you, Jonah, but I really want to see about a third of you this year. I mean, you don't want to see him. I mean, the next year, the numbers for Tyler Rasa went down significantly, but that was because the offense did a little better in terms of not stalling at the 30-yard line and scoring more touchdowns and things like that. So we'll see. I certainly think that's an interesting one. But yeah, you're talking. I mean, I know every year there's guys where you think, okay, they have a chance to be an NFL player, but I mean, it does seem like, and I think that's part of the reason why the optimism is there that this team could go on a run. The schedule's easier, the harder games are at home, and there's what appears to be at some of the key skill positions, a lot of talent on the roster.
Mm-hmm. Agreed, man. Agreed. I do. I agree with it. It all has the ability to line up for Boise State this year. And as we said, kind of at the beginning of this show, be a good year for everything to line up.
Quickly, Jay, our other topic, we only got a couple seconds left here, but the offensive line and, can they make the needed improvements this year? And I think this is a very big question mark. I know nobody likes talking offensive line. It's not the sexy thing to talk about, but, they were decimated by injuries last year, had 3 different centers start at least 3 games. They had issues snapping the ball. They had all kinds of issues, and the dominoes kind of started with Kekani Holomia-Gonzalez being out of the lineup. There's a lot of belief that getting him back will settle everything down, lock guys in at other positions. You also add Cade Beresford to the mix at tackle. So 2 new additions. There's going to be one guy, whether it's Ben Dooley, Garrett Curran. I'm trying to think who I'm missing. There's going to be a guy that started significant games last year that's not starting to start this season. So they've actually got some depth there. Someone's going to get hurt at some point. They're going to need that depth. Guys are going to move around. But at least to start the season, you got to feel like the offensive line is going to be improved, which means a better running game and also in turn a better passing game, hopefully.
I mean, just to show you the juxtaposition of where Boise State could be right now when it comes to their offensive line. Right after last season, you kind of assumed that Kekani Holomia-Gonzalez would be back, right? You knew that Ben Dooley would be back, and the same with Garrett Curran. But all of a sudden, John Ojukwu says, nope, I'm coming back. You go out, you get Cade Beresford out of the transfer portal. Will Farah says he's coming back. So at the very least, they've gone to work on the offensive line and maybe some of their depth issues. And you just feel like they have the bodies. They're in a better position this year than maybe they were last year. And Kekani Okoa is going to be such a crucial part. Last year, what happened, and we don't know the exact details and timeline, but man, was he playing a lot through practice during fall camp. And then all of a sudden UCF rolled around and he couldn't go. And it was kind of like this weird lingering thing that is he back? No. Is he back? No. And then finally, a little over midway through the season, they just shut him down for the rest of the year. So it's going to be really important. They don't have to deal with that, I would say, this fall.
Yeah, offensive line is always the key position that's easiest for fans to rip on when the running game's not working, when the quarterback gets sacked, when they're not moving the ball. And I do think that was a big reason for the offensive struggles last year. Not calling anybody out in particular. I think it started with the KHG injury and kind of dominoes fell the wrong way from there. So we'll see.
They just couldn't figure out center consistently last year. And by the time they did, Jake Stetz was playing it, which took him away from the left side of that line. things. I mean, it was a juggling act, no doubt.
And they had some really bad snapping issues at times, which Hank
Yeah.
Bachmeier had some miracle, plays to not lose the ball. I know the Utah State game that comes to mind for a couple of them, but yeah, the offensive line should be better, but it's going to be a key position to watch year two for, there were 4 changes to the coaching staff. Tim Keene does return as offensive line coach for year 2, and we'll see how that group looks like coming back. Hey, thanks again to all of our sponsors, Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com for all your personal and business bankings. Lithia Ford of Boise, check them out as well. LithiaFordBoise.com. You can do all your vehicle purchases there, and they're taking used cars as well. Even if you didn't buy it from Lithia Ford, you can sell your used car back to Lithia Ford. Go check them out, LithiaFordBoise.com. And, of course, our title sponsor, RowPaint.com. Joe's going to be giving them a call. You should as well. Power and people, pride in painting. If you want to transform your garage floor, your back patio, you name it, their concrete coating service, 4 times stronger than epoxy, and it's the best. So check them out. And again, they are proud supporters of Bronco Nation News. We appreciate their support as well. Jay, appreciate you today. We'll talk on Friday, and then I think we'll have to switch the schedule up for next week, as I love thinking on the fly and putting you on the spot. But yeah, next week with media days, we'll have to rearrange some of the shows, but we'll make it work. We'll both be down there next week in Vegas, and looking forward to it.
I was gonna say, next week it'll be fun to rearrange. It'll be cool. So
appreciate everybody for all the comments. If you're I'll try to see if I can still check it out, but if you're interested in one of the gift cards, send me an email and we'll hook you up with a gift card to the James or a free pizza or a round of golf, whatever interests you. Let us know and we'll hook you up. We appreciate everybody for checking us out. Tomorrow, by the way, Jay, I assume you'll be down there too, but we'll be over checking out the Once a Bronco basketball team. So no show tomorrow morning. We'll have some of that stuff for you on Thursday, but no show tomorrow morning. Right at 9:00 is when they're doing media availability and practice for Derek Marks, Ryan Watkins, all the former players. So we'll get you some highlights and footage of that on social media and then on Thursday's show. But yeah, no morning show tomorrow due to that. So apologize, but we'll see you guys Thursday with Mike Prater. Jay will be back on Friday. Have a great day. If anything breaks, we'll be back sooner than that, but take care and check out Jay on KTVB. And we appreciate it. Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com.